Hello students. Last class we have done the technological intelligence. Today this is the last part of our first chapter, and today we will be covering the integral intelligence, buddhi, Indian competences of intelligence, emotional intelligence and its characteristics, aptitude, aptitude and interest, creativity, creative test and intelligence test. And at last section, I have given for you people questions for you to solve. Intelligence in the Indian tradition is regarded as a holistic approach. Now see, in India, we have families, large family setups, we have relations, we have bondings, we have get-togethers, we have emotions which are attached. So basically we have attachments as against the Western culture, where it's very individualistic culture, where it only focuses on the person and his or her achievements. Our culture focuses definitely on bondings and relations. So here we are going to have emotional competences and social competences, society related, as a very important component. So Indian intelligence tradition, it is also termed as the integral intelligence, which gives emphasis on connectivity with the social and world environment, focuses on both cognitive and non-cognitive aspects. So this is where intelligence gets affected, where we bring in the concept of buddhi. The concept of buddhi was given by J.P. Das, who was a very famous psychologist from India. So the best part about the Indian aspect is it is a very holistic intelligence development. When we are talking about India, we are talking about all the components, not just thinking, but also emotions. Okay, so here in Indian tradition in holistic approach, here we also include the technological intelligence of the West. Okay, so basically the word buddhi, it is a Sanskrit word which represents intelligence. Basically, it includes skills such as mental effort, determined action, feelings and opinions, along with cognitive competence such as knowledge, discrimination and understanding. So buddhi is the knowledge of one's own self based on conscience, will and desire. And buddhi has affective and motivational components besides a strong cognitive component. So intelligence in the Indian tradition, we have four components where we also include a technology. So unlike the Western view, which particularly focuses on cognitive parameters, following competencies are identified as facets of intelligence in the Indian tradition. So as I said already, there are four components. So the first one is the cognitive capacity. This is basically same as the technological intelligence, where one is sensitive to context, understanding, discrimination, problem solving, and effective communication is there. Okay, so this is the logical part, the cognitive part. Second, it is the social competence, where we have respect of social order, commitment to elders, the young and the needy, concern about others' perspectives. This is totally in relation to our Indian culture, where we respect others. And for instance, if you see an old blind person or a very old person trying to cross the road, of course you will feel the need to help out that person. Or if I have to say that, say for example, your grandparents, would you like to have your grandparents stay in the old age home, or would you like to uh, spend time with them sitting at home instead of the old age home? So here, of course, we respect the others and we try to spend a little time with them, the elders especially. Third, it is the emotional competence, where there is self-regulation, self-monitoring of emotions, honesty, politeness, good conduct, and self-evaluation. For example, the concept of touching the feet of the elders and greeting others, saying namaste. So all this is the concept of the emotional competence, which where we value the emotions of other peoples too. Last is the entrepreneurial competence, where there is commitment, persistence, patience, hard work, vigilance, and goal directed behavior. So this is basically business related aspect. So when we talk about work, we talk about small scale industries, we talk about self finance industries where people are getting together collectively and having their enterprises. So this is business oriented. So these are the four components under the intelligence and the Indian tradition, which we basically say as integral intelligence. Okay, integral intelligence because we also have the concept of the technological intelligence of the West. So that is why Indian tradition or the integral intelligence of India is so widely accepted. Even in the Western cultures also today, at today's time, it is being accepted. Now let us move to the emotional intelligence. Now, see, before going, I want to ask you certain questions like, see, if a person who is successful in life, is that person also having a very good family setup? Is that person also personally successful? The answer may not be positive because if you are focusing all your energies on your work, you may not have the time to deal with your emotions and the family. This is what we are talking about, the feeling side of intelligence. So, the notion of emotional intelligence broadens the concept of intelligence as it considers that intelligence includes emotions. Emotional intelligence is a set of skills that underlie accurate appraisal, expression, and regulation of emotions. So, this is the definition of emotional intelligence. This encompasses this definition it encompasses three important factors: appraisal, expression, and regulation of emotions. Now, appraisal means, for instance, I'm trying to understand and judge what I'm feeling. Similarly, I try to understand what the other person is going through. That is appraisal. Expression, if I'm feeling sad, I have complete right to express what is making me feel sad and how can I deal with that sadness. If I'm aware of it, definitely I'm able to express it also. And last, it is regulation of emotions. So I can manage, I can monitor, and I can control the emotions. That is what means regulation of emotions. So basically, emotional intelligence, we can say that it is the feeling side of intelligence. So a good IQ or scholastic record is not enough to be successful in life. Even the people who are most successful in academics face problems in managing their personal life. The psychologists refer to this as lack of emotional intelligence. So see, if you're undergoing a certain issue or a problem that you are facing in your life, are you able to think objectively about that issue? Are your emotions not interfering? Are you not overgeneralizing or hyperreacting? It does happen, and that is there where your studies get affected. Now, this is one aspect that you are able to understand what you are going through. You can manage it. It will not affect your occupational or academic area. So, in order to assess emotional intelligence, it is represented as emotional quotient. Like that of intelligence quotient, there is emotional quotient which is represented as EQ. So, before EQ, one more concept you need to understand is you need to be in the present situation, that is here and now. If I'm right now speaking and I'm thinking about something else that happened in the past, I will fumble or I'll get confused. So, this is where if you're living in the present moment, not carrying the past baggage, letting it go, you will move on easily. You let go easily, you accept things easily, You live in the present. This is a very strong component of emotional intelligence. Now, Salovey and Mayer has first defined EQ as the ability to monitor one's own and others' emotions and discriminate them, to use the information to guide one's own thinking and actions. Now let us go through the characteristics of emotionally intelligent people. So emotionally intelligent persons share certain characteristics in common. So number one, it is they perceive and they're sensitive to the feelings of his or her own feelings and emotions. Number two, they're sensitive to observing others' emotions by noting their body language, voice, tone, and facial expressions. Number three, they use emotions and thoughts while solving problems and taking decisions. Number four, they understand the nature and intensity of emotions and their powerful influence. Number five, they have control on emotions and feelings while dealing with others to achieve peace and harmony. Okay, so go through these characteristics of the people with high EQ. You will also understand that, and also try to understand whether you are emotionally intelligent or not. Next, let's move on to the special abilities, which is also regarded as the aptitude. So basically, aptitude, it is special abilities. So mental ability in a special or particular field is referred as aptitude. So aptitude is the special ability in a particular field or activity, and it is characterized and indicates an individual's capacity to acquire some specific knowledge or skill after training. So aptitude is also the ability to acquire some specific knowledge and skill after training. So people with similar intelligence, IQ, differ widely in acquiring certain type of skills. They can be good in different areas or subjects. This means that people can have aptitude of different fields with similar measure of intelligence. Now say for example, uh, when you have a problem in mathematics in your class, maybe you will turn or you'll go to someone who is good in mathematics. And with similar difficulties in literature, you may consult someone else. And also, you may request someone else to sing for your annual function. Why? Because maybe you know that who is best in which skills and who have the skill to do that particular work very positively or affirmatively. Okay, so with proper training, these abilities can be considerably enhanced. Now, with aptitude, there is another term known as interest. So, what is the difference between aptitude and interest? Aptitude is the potential to perform any activity or task, and interest is the preference for performing certain activity. So, to excel in any field, a person needs to have both aptitude as well as interest. So, before going on to measuring aptitude, let us try to understand the difference between aptitude and interest. So, see, a person may be interested in a particular job or activity but may not have the aptitude for it. Similarly, a person may have the potentiality for performing a job but may not be interested in doing that. In both cases, the outcome will not be satisfactory. Say for instance, Sachin Tendulkar likes to sing, but will he ever be Lata Mangeshkar? And if given, you give Lata Mangeshkar to play on the field in place of Sachin Tendulkar, so will Lata Mangeshkar will be Sachin Tendulkar. So there lies the difference between interest and aptitude. So a student with high mechanical aptitude and strong interest in engineering is more likely to be a successful mechanical engineer. So how we will measure aptitude? How we will know that a certain person have this certain aptitudes? So in order to assess aptitude, we have certain tests. So there are largely two forms of aptitude test. Okay, so one is regarded as independent aptitude test. It is also known as the specialized aptitude test, where mechanical, clerical, numerical tests for specialized fields are there. And second one, it is multiple aptitude test, which is also known as generalized aptitude test. So this exists in the form of test batteries. Independent means there is one particular test available, and multiple it is in the form of batteries where several independent aptitude tests are being assembled. So differential aptitude test, that is DAT, general aptitude test GATB, general aptitude test battery, armed services vocational aptitude battery ASVAB are well known examples of multiple aptitude tests. We also can say it as generalized aptitude tests. So DAT is the most commonly used test in aptitude. So this is commonly used in educational settings, which consist of 8 specialized subtests. So these are verbal, numerical, abstract, clerical, speed and accuracy, mechanical, space, spellings and language tests. These are the common tests which you'll find in DAT. Okay. So next we have creativity. So creativity, you all know already what is creativity. So creativity is a phenomenon whereby something new and somehow valuable is formed. So the created item may be intangible, such as an idea, a scientific theory, a musical composition, or a joke, or a physical object, such as an invention, a literary work, or a painting. So there are differences in the potential for creativity across individuals and the manner in which creativity is expressed. So creativity can be expressed in writing, dance, poetry, science and so on. There are so many other types how you can express creativity. So manifestation of creativity can be seen in a poem, painting, new chemical process, an innovation of law, a breakthrough in science in preventing a disease, and so on. The list goes on. There are several hundred thousand of creativity list, which is endless. So is there any relation between creativity and intelligence? Do you think so that there is relation between creativity and intelligence? So intelligence is the overall ability to understand, analyze, and adapt in different situations. It is a brain function which helps individuals to perform and excel in multiple domains. Whereas creativity is the ability to use intelligence in order to churn out something unique or turn out something unique and novel in a specific field. So, a person who has the ability to learn faster, reproduce accurately, is considered intelligent more than creative until he or she devises new ways of learning and doing. So Thurman in 1920 found that persons with high IQ were not necessarily creative, and creative ideas can come from persons who did not have very high IQ, ability to think differently. So basically what they found out, Thurman and his associates, they found out that persons with high IQ were not necessarily creative. So what we can sum about this is that maybe a person is creative, but it is not necessary that that creative person will be high in IQ, or a high IQ person is not necessarily be creative. Okay, are you understanding the point? So there is ability to think differently by a different person. So the relationship between intelligence and creativity is positive. All creative abilities require a minimum level of intelligence to acquire knowledge, capacity to comprehend, retain, and retrieve. So basically, in order to be creative, you need a little amount of intelligence, but that necessarily does not mean that you have to be very high in your IQ, that is one above 130. No, you can also have an average IQ range and also be creative. So, for example, to express creativity in writing, one must possess adequate language skills, and to express creativity in creating new laws of science, one must have intelligence to acquire at least a basic knowledge of the subject. Okay, creativity test. Now, creativity tests are open ended and involve making a person think of different answers to the questions and problems. They give freedom to individuals to go in different direction and freedom to use their imagination and express in original ways. So what is the difference between creative test and intelligence test? Let us see what are the differences. On your left side it is creative test and on the right it is intelligence test. Now the very first difference is creative tests are open-ended whereas intelligence tests are close-ended. Creative tests they use divergent thinking whereas intelligence tests they use convergent thinking. I hope you people know by now what is divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking means from one problem you will have several other solutions, whereas in intelligence test it is very objective. That means for one problem you will have one solution only and you cannot think of other possible solutions. In creative test, individuals use spontaneity, originality, and imagination, whereas in intelligence test, this test uses reasoning, accuracy, and perceptual ability. Creative test measure general creative ability, okay, and intelligence test it tends to measure the general cognitive or mental ability. So those are the basic differences between creative test and intelligence test. If other than this you all find out anything, you all can add it up here. Okay, so this is all. And in the last slide, I have some questions for you people. So you all can go through. Now see for the first one, find out the IQ of a 10-year-old with a mental age of 12. Here you can use the formula, that is IQ equal to MA divided by CA into 100. By using that formula you can find out the answer. This is kind of a maths problem and you all the art students might be thinking again maths here also, but of course in order to find out or assess intelligence, of course you have to do certain mathematical equations also, and rest it is some are you have to explain and write, and some direct answers are there from the book. You all can go through, and if you have any problem you can ask me. So with this I end up the first chapter, and in the next class we can have an interactive session where you all can clear your doubts. All right students, thank you.